This is a conversation about life and consciousness. In order to truly understand life, maybe we should start by asking the question, who am I?
At the deepest level, I believe I am consciousness and awareness.
What do you think is consciousness and awareness?
I guess it's what some would claim is the soul or spirit.
Okay, but if that is the root of what or who we are, is that what shows up in everyday life?
It's always there, but I don't think it really shows up all the time.
Well, what would you say shows up most of the time? There must be another aspect to us besides consciousness, awareness, soul, spirit, or whatever we want to call it.
I guess that would be form.
That makes sense. It's our human form. It's the physicality. It's the body that the soul, the consciousness, the awareness takes a trip in every once in a while to understand itself from a lower perspective. From a perspective that it is not capable of understanding. So here is consciousness creating a form that it slips into, and it creates a purpose and a finite life. An analogy could be thinking about actors and the roles they play. When I was attending the Toronto Film Festival, I saw one actor in two different movies. He was very much two different people. I saw him again interviewed on TV, and he acted like someone else. I couldn't help but wonder who this person really was. That analogy always helps me understand the soul and the form better. So in my case, here's consciousness slipping into the role of Jeffrey Eisen. That's not who I am. That's just the role I am playing. Who you think you are really depends on what perspective you look at life from. Are you looking at life from form, or are you looking at life from formless? Most of us, including me, look at our reality from the form we're in most of the time. That's because we have to do a reasonable job playing the role of our human form. I believe there is no choice but for my form to take the lead, because the formless part of me is somewhat evasive. It's not at all pushy. It doesn't seem to want to run the show. It's as if it is observing me playing my role. It appears to me that it is here to witness and learn only, while allowing form to lead the way. We therefore have this resource available to us, called consciousness or awareness, that is actually everything. Everything that ever was, everything that is, everything that will be. And it's there, inside us all. There's a part of it in me and a part of it in you. That would mean I've got the answers to everything, and they are all within me. Then I have this form that tends to be a little bit pushy and always wanting to show up because it thinks that it is all there is. Of course, that is not true, because we just said there are two aspects to me. There is this form aspect as well as the formless aspect of me. Something interesting that I have come to realize is that if I am able to quiet my mind and allow my form to be more passive, to somewhat take a back seat, and I am able to move to a place of a higher vibration, then I can actually connect to formless and sometimes even let it lead the way. I can actually speak from formless. I can actually coach from consciousness and awareness. And I can actually give presentations from spirit. What I have found is that when I allow that to happen, formless does such a better job than the form of Jeffrey Eisen. My form is limited. It's limited in its dimensionality. It's limited in its thinking. It has to play by different rules. So for me, the more I can allow formless to speak through me, the happier I am. However, because the form is so strong, and there is a pact, I believe, with consciousness, it will only participate if it is invited to. Form is pushy, and formless is passive. But the good news is, if you ask formless to speak, it will. You need to give permission for consciousness to speak through you. Form is very finite. It came into this lifetime expression with a somewhat limited lifespan, whereas formless is infinite. Here's my understanding of life. The part of you that is consciousness is just here to watch and observe what you choose to do during this limited amount of time on the planet, without judgment and with loving kindness. However, one of the choices that you may not be consciously making is to allow consciousness to speak through you. I think the lesson we are here to learn is to stand aside, to stop pushing so hard so we can connect with consciousness. That's why it is said that Buddha became instantly enlightened when he surrendered. He surrendered to that part of him that was awareness or consciousness. All of his struggle came from trying to figure out enlightenment from his form. He wasn't able to do it because I believe that's the design of form. God designed the human form with all of this potential for conflict. It's part of the DNA, and it's part of the design of the form to struggle. It's only by transcending the struggle that life can be a little bit easier. You can try to change the purpose of form all you want, but I don't think you will succeed. That's why that piece of God is there, to observe how we respond to what comes our way. It's not to congratulate the person that solves the puzzle and wins, because it's unwinnable. The only way to let go of the struggle is to rise above it by coming more from formless, more from consciousness, more of the time. There's not a person, there's not a human being on this planet that will be able to let go of the struggle by staying in the human form. The human form is designed to experience conflict, to live in the duality. The best we can do is ride the waves. The best we can do is ride the cycles. The best we can do is accept our ups and downs, and accept when we're in flow, and try to be kind to ourselves when we feel terrible. The best we can do in human form is to try to stay down when the blizzard's going by. The blizzard is still going to go by in human form because that's part of the plan. That's the duality that we live in. The design is such that you can't, while still in human form, consistently, on a regular basis, all of the time, come from consciousness. You're not allowed to. All you can do is try and be there more of the time. But when you move to that place of consciousness, the human form seems to fall away. The purpose of our struggle is to help consciousness understand life in the duality. Think about the billions of people on the planet for the millions of years trying to figure it out, and consciousness just observes. This is an unsolvable puzzle. That's why surrender is the answer. That's how the Buddha became enlightened. Buddha realized when he was able to see life from a place of consciousness that whatever he was doing in human form was beyond his total control. It's impossible to be in control while looking at life from form. I believe implanted in our DNA are the propensities that form is to experience in its lifetime expression. They come forth implanted within us when we incarnate in human form. There are the propensities for this, propensities for that, propensities for cancer, propensities for hardship, propensities for wealth, propensities for happiness, for heartbreak, for a certain career. Those propensities are all part of the setup of what form is to play through in the role called your life. With those propensities comes struggle. And when I am in that struggle, I find it difficult to let formless speak through me. When the pressure is on me, the form, I can't let formless come through me. When the pressure is on form to perform, there is no room for consciousness to be present. Are you starting to understand why surrender is so critical? Surrender is letting go of the form, the ego, the mind, and just allowing. That's it. I surrender, and the great creator, the source, is going to be allowed to come through me today. We park the ego, we park everything that is programmed into the human form, because that form is full of resistance. It's full of conflict. It's full of struggle. You have to understand it was designed that way. Why else would we be here? Why else would consciousness be planted in this absurdity called human form that does the things it does? I hate to tell you, but we are entertainment for consciousness. Struggling and suffering and arguing, well, consciousness is just sitting there, very lovingly looking on. You can imagine the capability of consciousness because it's doing this for close to 7 billion people on the planet every minute of every day. It's watching how we choose to respond to the struggle, to the duality that was created for this amazing movie called human life. The question we could ask is, do you want to live in human form ignoring consciousness, or do you want to allow those two aspects of yourself to try to get along in the best harmony possible? Maybe that is the answer to what flow is for the human form. Flow is consciousness in harmony with human form. Just think about that. Is that what you want to live in more of the time? Is it possible to do it all of the time? I don't think so. Otherwise, we would not serve the purpose we were designed for. We would not be able to help consciousness, the source, understand life in the duality. Maybe that's what Buddha discovered in that moment of enlightenment. He made peace with the fact that the human form is the struggle, and in order to overcome the struggle, he connected to consciousness, allowing it to lead the way. He allowed his human form to step aside, and in that moment, he became connected to all that ever was, all that is, and all that will ever be. He mastered the duality and was able to attain a sense of flow where he saw life through consciousness. If God in its wisdom designed a system where there was struggle, then you and I are not going to be able to change that. God won't let us. The best we can do is find our consciousness, connect to our consciousness, and create the harmony of consciousness within human form as often as we can. When we leave the human body, we don't have to worry about creating that harmony because we are just consciousness. We go into formless as the form drops away. All of those times we listen to people with our minds, but we just don't seem to get it until we really get it. I think for me, today is one of those times. When we get it, it's because we've connected to that consciousness that supersedes the human form with its limitations, the brain consciousness, the thinking consciousness. Do you understand how the human form needed to be designed with these limitations? We needed to because there was an aspect of us that was beyond form planted within us that we were meant to discover. Maybe in this conversation, we have been able to create a greater understanding of life and consciousness as we know it. It seems so simple when you get it, but that's because, as the Buddha did, we begin to see it and feel it from our consciousness, not through our limited form.